Page is not turning, huh? Oh, hi there. Didn't see you there. Just was reading some Justice League out of this Rebirth Omnibus that I've never actually read. And actually, speaking of Justice League, while we're here, why don't we get into that video I talked about? About the differences between the Whedon cut and the Snyder cut. Do y'all want to get into that? Yeah? Okay. Because I've got the points listed right here. So I think we can just dive right on in and just waste no time. Where are my manners? Wow, it has been a week, hasn't it, my friends? Hey there. Welcome. Welcome back. And if you're new, welcome to the Lazy Ass Samurai YouTube channel, where we just kind of vibe here about all things nerdy and comic book. And today we're going to be going over what I would like to call the Josstice League versus Snyder Cut. 5 of my favorite changes between the initial 2017 release of Justice League to that of the HBO Max wonderfully crafted 2021 release of the Justice League in all of its glory. If you remember last week, we talked about my first impressions. And since then, I've had time to dwell and reflect. And, well, let's just dive right in, shall we? So here are my top five differences between the two movies that I personally enjoyed. And before we get started, first, I'd like to give a spoiler warning. This is not going to be safe for anyone who hasn't seen Justice League, the Snyder Cut, or anyone who would like to. So if anything, you pause this video right now, dang it, and you take yourself to HBO Max or bum off an HBO Max password from your friend and or family member, and you watch those 4 hours, and then you come back so we can discuss. Because it's only fun if we all talk about things we're aware of. And also, second disclaimer, this is not a video saying how bad Justice League is, the Joss Whedon cut. This is not here to take what he did. I don't have anything disposable, but to take what he did and doogie on it, because that's not what we do here on this channel. Gosh darn it. This is a civil place for discussion, for intellectuals to gather. Now let's get up into it, shall we? Number 5, we have some additions, right? We have some characters who were not in Justice League. That's what I will call it moving forward, the Joss Whedon cut. We had some characters who were either name dropped, mentioned, hinted, but never actually in the film. I'm talking about Darkseid and Martian Manhunter. Alright? You know, going into the Snyder Cut, I already had an idea that there was going to be an additional member to the Justice League. And I mean, you can all probably guess who I thought was going to be in the movie. Another green hero, if you will. But of course, I'm not going to sit here. I'll talk about what really happened. I mentioned it in my next video where I talk about what could have been or should have been in terms of the Snyderverse and the Justice League trilogies. But of course, it's okay. I mean, it's not like Green Lantern was done dirty by the Ryan Reynolds adaptation. Nothing against him, but just against the movie. Fans like me, we've been hankering for some Green Lantern. But it's okay. That's fine. It's alright. Because we got Martian Manhunter instead. But before I get on to him, Darkseid was the big bad. Darkseid was in the film. We didn't just get a glimpse of him. We didn't get his name dropped. We not only got that, we saw Desaad and Granny Goodness. We saw Apocalypse. We saw the Parademons for realsies. And gosh darn it, if I am not happy about anything, or if I'm not even happier about anything, it's the fact that we saw Darkseid in live action looking like the DC's equivalent of Thanos in terms of how striking he looked. I mean, the most important inclusion is the fact that in that flashback because like I said, I watched the Whedon cut and then the Snyder cut back to back. Yeah, a zesty 6 hours and some change, if you must. And I'm disappointed. I didn't even notice the flashback. I'm sorry, I'll just go on a tangent just to explain. The flashback scene where all the forces of Earth, the Atlanteans, the Themyscirans, and the humans all gathered together with a couple of the gods, Zeus, Ares, I believe it was Artemis or Athena who was rocking that. And the fact that Steppenwolf came to Earth, and we didn't even get that whole fight. In the Snyder Cut, boy, we got the fight. And it was Darkseid pulling up on planet Earth, getting ready to pull up and wreck. And he's the one who took an axe to the shoulder and nearly bled out because Ares just went in ham. But the fact that we saw Darkseid in this movie, that he is a valued threat, he is an Avengers level threat in this film, and I'm just like, yes, that's what I want. Darkseid is formidable. This dude runs Apocalypse. This dude seeks out and even gains the anti-life equation in the comics. I mean, this man's Omega beams, they will hunt you down and kill you. It does not matter where you are or where you will go. The Omega beams are like Superman's laser vision on drugs with the same sort of tracking with aimbot. This dude's got aimbot laser vision. But anyways, we don't really see that in the film. But the fact that Darkseid was in the film made my heart flutter, as it equal parts made my heart shudder, because he is a formidable foe. Then getting into Martian Manhunter, the reveal that I wish I had his name in mind, but the general dude from Batman v Superman, the reveal that he was Martian Manhunter the whole time. When you have that talk between Martha Kent and Lois Lane, still arguably a weak character in both films. I don't want to hear it from anybody. If you don't believe me, you can go watch those movies, and you can personally tell me. You can reach out to me on Twitter and tell me Lois's importance in the films that we've seen. I'm not talking about what you heard, what was supposed to happen, how important she really is. I want you to give me a good reason why she's a good character. Exactly. I was waiting. But enough hate on her. But the fact that that scene between Martha Kent and Lois Lane was so... It was kind of like off-tone. In the Whedon cut, Lois Lane was out here still working at the Daily Bugle. Whereas in the Snyder Cut, she actually stopped working at the Bugle. And Martha pulled up to the apartment and didn't call her thirsty, but rather told her, hey, get back on that horse, cowboy. Because Superman's dead, and that ain't going to change anything. And you should go do what you do best, which is reporter stuff. And I was like, man, this scene's kind of dookie. Like this scene seemed so unnecessary to me. Until you realize that it wasn't Martha who talked to her. Martha steps outside that apartment, her eyes start glowing red. I first off think it's like a parademon, or maybe she's not even like human. But then you see her shapeshift into Martian Manhunter, Mr. John Johns himself. Ooh, son, I will tell you what, I screamed. My mom didn't really get the significance. She just saw an alien pop up on screen, but I'm like, Mom, that's no alien. You ain't gonna know, but that's no alien. So I was hyped. I saw Martian Manhunter on screen for the first time at the DCEU. And see, prior to seeing the Snyder Cut, everyone was talking about like, oh, we all know there's going to be that extra character. Everyone knows who it is. So I was like, no, I don't, because I stay away from spoilers. But enough about that. On to number 4. The film's tone was immaculate and significantly improved. Like I said in my previous video, the Whedon cut didn't really seem like it knew like what it wanted to be. It seemed to have an identity crisis. We had moments of levity. We had a lot of unnecessary jokes. We had, it's funny because it reminds me of this tweet I saw where it was like, I can't believe that we're calling the Whedon cut canon with stuff like this. And there were like 4 screenshots. One was Superman's mustache. Another screenshot was from the scene where Martha Kent literally calls Lois thirsty. Then there's the part where the Flash lands on Diana's chest in the fight over in the water plant against not Darkseid but Steppenwolf. And then there's also the scene... and then there was the scene where Aquaman's sitting on the lasso of truth by accident. He's over here talking about how gorgeous Wonder Woman is and how he doesn't want to die. And how if their people didn't hate each other, then he would want a piece of that. It was really cringy. There was a lot of cringe in the Whedon cut. And there was also that joke about brunch that the Flash made. And it just didn't really click with me. It didn't sit with a lot of people. So, when the Snyder Cut came out, let me, just to give you an example of how the tone was already significantly improved as more serious between the two cuts. The Whedon cut, we open up with these kids pulling up to super ugly CGI mouth Henry Cavill Superman, asking what his favorite part of Earth is, and if he's fought like a hippopotamus or something. I don't know, it was just, we have a podcast, answer some questions, and he's like, what's your favorite part about Earth? And he just kind of looks with his awkward CGI smile. And then we cut into like a montage of just life without Superman in a lot of unnecessary slow motion. Someone kicks over a basket of fruits in slow motion, I guess, to show how crazy crime is. And you just hear, that song, everybody knows. And it's just, that's the opening. Flip it on its head for the Snyder Cut. And it opens right literally as it. Oh my god, it's so cool because it's a similar vein to like Rogue One to Episode 4, A New Hope, where it's like 10 minutes after Rogue One, that's where A New Hope starts. I would say not even 10 minutes, like moments after Superman dies in BVS is where the Snyder Cut picks up on. So we literally open up to Superman being straight, just speared through the chest and screaming. And his echoes of death awaken the mother boxes, my guy, and or gals, and or peoples watching the video. His screams of death, the confirmation of the Kryptonian dying, awakens the mother boxes and lets Steppenwolf know, lets Darkseid know, hey, there's no Kryptonians protecting this planet. I'm gonna pull up and wreck. And it's so good. It's so good. I'm sorry. I'm nerding out all over again because that's how you know the tone is significantly different. Like, we look at Superman's death in the Whedon cut as an effect on the people of Earth. Whereas in the Snyder cut, we open up with Superman's death being an impact on the universe at stake. The reason why Steppenwolf pulls up from the mother boxes is because they awaken knowing the Kryptonian is dead. Which also ties back to Lex Luthor. I'm sorry, can I make a side note? I like Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. Y'all can come for me if you want to. I still think it was a great casting choice. I'm sorry. I'm not going to say the best adaptation of Lex Luthor, but he's doing good for what he's got. But he said at the end of BVS that the bells are ringing, tolling. Like, it makes more sense. It doesn't make Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor seem like a psychotic, just crazy, rambling man, bald man, because we see the effects, we hear the effects of Superman's death. And that's just the beginning, just the tone. I mean, instead of being overly saturated like the Whedon cut, the Snyder Cut is desaturated in its colors, and it looks bland, but it also sets that tone where it's like, hey, crap can literally hit the fan if we don't stop Steppenwolf and Darkseid from taking over Earth. So the film's tone made me feel good inside, and it made me seem like we were watching an actual epic 4-hour cut of such a great movie. I guess you could say I'm biased because I love comic books, but gosh dang it, if I didn't tell you that movie is so much better in its tone. There are times where in the Whedon cut, this is before watching the Snyder Cut, but watching the Whedon cut for the first time in like 3 years, I'm like, what? But then seeing the Snyder Cut right after, you're just like, wow. This isn't canon. Anyways, sorry. So, point number 3, the Flash's importance. The Flash being a much more integral character to the story than you could ever know is the best. Because he was, I felt like, the most redeeming factor of the Whedon cut in general. So the fact that they gave him much more of an importance and integral role in this film made me so happy. Seeing him come into his own as a coming-of-age kind of superhero story for the Flash made me feel so good. I just wanted to touch on that. I don't really have much to ramble about on point number 3. Because, 5 was Darkseid and Martian Manhunter, 4 was the film's tone, 3 was the Flash's importance. And I love it. I think Ezra Miller is great as the Flash, and I can't wait to see his solo film, if it's happening. I can't keep up anymore with all the canceled DC projects, like Batfleck's solo film. But I just actually shoot. The whole scene that was cut, people say it's awkward. Okay, it is kind of awkward and kind of creepy at one moment. But the scene where the Flash saves Iris is so crazy. Like this man moves so fast that he tears through his shoes. All he has to do is poke the glass of that front door to the pet shop or the grooming place or the whatever, wherever he's applying to. And the fact that you see the glass bend and then shatter at his fingertip, I'm just like, and he saves her. And it's so good. And I love that scene to death. You can come at me with how, yes, in that brief moment where he could have been saving her life, he does kind of fall in love with her. But I think there's something precious in that. Because it's not like she's a stranger. I mean, she is, but they exchanged glances before he saved her life, so sue me. I love that kind of romantic stuff. I'd be lying if I said I wouldn't have done it. Anyways, on to point 2. Cyborg's character development. Man, he just looks like he's along for the ride in the Whedon cut, like by default, because he was fused to the mother boxes. He's just here because he's the only one who can talk to him. We're not going to get any backstory on how he ended up like that. We're not going to get any character development into him as a person, his thoughts, his ideals, his morals. We're not even going to see how his powers work. He's just a robot. He's just a cyborg. That was the Whedon cut. Zack Snyder, we get various flashbacks into who this man is and or was before becoming cyborg, his motivations, his hatred toward his... I mean, in the theatrical release, in Justice League, he's just seemed like a very grumpy guy. Oh, I'm a monster. Nobody likes me. I hate you, Dad. Snyder Cut. He lost his mom. His dad was never around because he was so busy dealing with sciencey stuff. And I'll tell you what, seeing the origin of how he became cyborg and how his powers work. Like when he went into that woman's bank account and like gave her money because she was a single mom working her job with the 2 kids and she had the eviction notice, and he leveled up her bank account. That not only gives insight to his powers and how he's literally connected to every source of information on the planet, but he's also a great guy. Like, he's not over here like, I'm finna just make my account thick. No, like, it seems so much different, and he's a whole different character. And the fact that he was flushed out was one of the biggest things I was looking forward to. I'm predominantly a Batman fan, but I think it tells you something when I say that going into the Snyder Cut, I wanted to see more about Cyborg than I did Batman. Because we already got Batman v Superman. We already know Ben Affleck's Batman and just him as in general. I wanted to see more about Cyborg. And I'll tell you what, we got that. He seems like a more actual character in this movie. And that's just for everybody. Everyone seems to feel more fulfilled. And I feel like the extra 2 hours added on, attributing to that, made it worth it much more in general. So yeah, Cyborg was so much better. And I'll tell you what, in the Whedon cut, Cyborg's dad is alive and helps him create and upgrade his suit to like the classic Cyborg logo. But the fact that his dad sacrifices himself, not to try to destroy the mother box like I thought, but to superheat it to basically help them track it down because he knew Steppenwolf was going to get it. So much better. I hate to say it, but I'm glad his dad's dead because he served so much more to the story's conclusion. So there's that. And before we get into my number 1 change out of the 5 changes, number 1 change, which has 3 sub things, I have 3 honorable mentions. Let me get into this. This video is already going to be long, and if you're already here, if you're already stuck around this long, you can either skip ahead or you just stick around. So an honorable mention, it's 1 honorable mention. The epilogue. And by epilogue, I mean the nightmare scene inclusion, like the apocalyptic world. And there's 3 reasons why this one is basically almost my number 1 pick. 1, it ties back to the flashback scene, get it? Flashback scene in BVS, where Bruce is having a nightmare or a dream or a premonition where the Flash comes back in time with the same armor he's wearing in the nightmare scene in the Snyder Cut, warning him, saying that Lois is the key. Boy, I'll tell you what, I was ecstatic for that. I was like, oh my god! It just confirms everything, which makes it even more heart-crushing because the Snyderverse is no longer canon. It teases the Justice League sequel that we'll never see, which is the topic of my next video, which will probably be even longer. I'm sorry. And then the dialogue between Batfleck and Joker Leto, as I put in my notes. But if you think about it, the fact that Ben Affleck isn't getting his solo Batman film, the fact that Jared Leto probably won't be the Joker in anything else after Joaquin Phoenix blew the roof off the place and they're restructuring everything after Suicide Squad, you have to realize, if you hadn't thought of it before, this is probably the only time we're going to get dialogue exchanged between Ben Affleck's Batman and Jared Leto's Joker. Didn't realize it. I mean, after the events of the movie as a whole, I was already overwhelmed. But this didn't hit me until maybe after the movie, like an hour after the movie. I'm like, we will never see these two talk ever again on screen. And yeah, people say it's really edgy and cringy with the whole Batman saying, I'm gonna effing kill you. I thought that was cool. Gave me goosebumps because, I mean, it's not like he hasn't done it before, but also he doesn't kill a single person in the Justice League movie. And then you have Jared Leto. And it's crazy because, like, their exchange, their banter back and forth gives us more insight to what actually happened. Like, the fact that we learned that Harley Quinn dies because that's literally what Batman was saying. Or Joker talking about how Robin dies. Or Joker saying, like, you literally won't kill me and you know it. And it's just like, it was so good. It was so good, super dramatic, super over the top. And I'm mad because we'll never see anything else come out of that again. And then finally, for my number one difference, my number one change that I loved the most in the Snyder Cut is the ending. Yeah, you guessed it. The one thing I seem to have not talked about, the ending. First of all, the ending fight was amazing. Superman pulling up and saving Cyborg, because if you recall in the Whedon cut, Cyborg gets his booty wrecked. Pause. He just gets thrown around, okay? But the fact that Superman pulls up at the last second, unimpressed with Steppenwolf's freaking axe, uses his ice breath, which I'm just like, give me that. Give me those comic accurate powers, you cowards. Inject that straight into my vein. It's insane. But broke it, lasered off his horn, Wonder Woman straight cuts Steppenwolf's head off. The ending is just so good. I would watch that scene again and again and again and again. And I probably will. And just the fight in general, like, you get superhero combo moves. And that's what you want. That's what made the Marvel movies so good. Like Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, you saw these characters joining together, pulling off straight combo moves. And that's the kind of stuff I like. Like, give me that Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 style fusion attacks where they team up and use their powers. That's exactly what happened in the ending fight. There were no civilians. I'll tell you what. Just in the Whedon cut, they kind of forced the Flash and Superman to save all these people, where last time I checked, this place was uninhabitable. I just didn't care for that Russian family. I'm sorry. I'm glad they weren't in this cut, because it's like, they could have done left. I was tired of cutting back to them because I forgot they existed in the Whedon cut, but they aren't even here. There are no civilians in sight, and that's why the destruction and everything is so much better, and I love it so much better. And Batman doesn't drive through the freaking streets playing some stupid sound to attract the parademons. No, this man's just pulling up with the smoke. And then the biggest thing, which ties back to point number 3 of the Flash's importance. I know this video is long, and I anticipated that. These next 2 videos I'm putting out are going to be long, because it needs to be long for me to actually accurately give what I wanted to say about these movies. Notice how I said there's no Russian family, right? So you're probably wondering, well, no, you're not, because you saw the movie. But you would have been wondering, like I was at this point, like, there's no overly saturated red film filter over the end fight. There's no Russian family to be saved. What's the Flash going to be doing? I don't know. Just running around in circles, generating enough freaking energy to help Cyborg take the mother boxes apart. Okay, but you're thinking, okay, but he's just running around in circles. That's really no better. Might as well have him save some random Russian family. Do what superheroes do best. Save people, right? Well, I guess I could have just argued that he saved the whole freaking world. I mean, the fact that I love that the heroes die. Yeah, they die. I know you were as shocked as I was. Movies where the heroes fail, realistically, make me so happy. And I can tell you that because we're always so akin to the happily ever afters, or the superheroes are always going to prevail. But the reason why Endgame gave me chills and still gives me chills to this day is because it ends with the heroes failing. And no, that's not what the Justice League exactly, or Snyder Cuts of the Justice League exactly does. But boy, when I tell you, when that parademon got its shot on the Flash and actually hit him in the side, stop my boy's momentum as Cyborg was like, all right, I'm ready, Barry, like, come through, like, I need you to help me, like, tap into the mother boxes. Well, the Flash tripped. When the Flash tripped and retroactively prevented the unity from happening, I'll tell you what, when everybody exploded, first of all, I was shook because I thought the Flash just got tripped. No, he took a whole bolt to the side. And he's like, I just got winded. I'm like, oh my god, he got shot. But bro, when the unity formed, when the mother boxes joined into the unity and the everything exploded, everyone died, I was so shook. Because you saw Superman be utterly evaporated. Like, the world was ending in this moment, and what the Flash did brought tears to my eyes. This boy was like, okay, just gotta run faster than you ever ran before. Faster than fast, faster than speed. Like, you're just gonna have to, and then, he's giving that monologue as he's running. He's like, Dad, he's like, your son was one of the best. I'm just like, bro, what? And he literally runs back into, he runs so fast that he reverses time. And I didn't realize that's what was happening. And so you notice that every step he took, like, the ground beneath him that was once there starts to form. And it's just like he's running with this wave of everything coming back into fruition. And then you see Superman, you see Cyborg, you see everyone's little skin giblets and every part of them just come back into a whole. You realize, oh my god, they straight up died. If not for the Flash, this would be the end. This boy runs so fast that he reverses time long enough to provide, not only to reverse time, he ran fast enough to not only reverse time. I'm sorry, I'm getting worked up, but it's just so epic, and I love this movie for this reason. And he runs fast enough to not only reverse time, but to provide and generate enough energy to help Cyborg tap into the mother boxes and then just take them apart. Which then leads to this badass ending where the portal to Apocalypse opens up. They're mad, they're mean dogging, mad mugging. They're mean mugging, mad dogging Darkseid. And it's just like they're all there after they murder Steppenwolf. They hit him with that superhero combo that I mentioned. Superman done lasered his horn off. They're throwing him back in the portal. Wonder Woman straight decapitates my dude. His head is clean off, straight through the neck meat, and he gets sent back to Apocalypse in pieces. And Darkseid has his own Thanos, I'll do it myself moment, and he's just like, gather the parademons we pulling up on Earth. I'm doing this myself. Especially because he finds out that the anti-life equation is on Earth. The equation that virtually renders everyone, like, mind controlled to anyone who wields the anti-life equation. So it's like, it's just so hot in here. That movie was just good. And that ending was so phenomenal. And I'm just dying over here. Because it wasn't just that, though. I'm sorry, it wasn't just that. It wasn't just the Flash. It wasn't just Cyborg. It was everybody. Batman played a more important part. My boy was getting real good with his combat. Straight up killed the parademon that shot the Flash. We had Aquaman teaming up with Wonder Woman. And the Snyder Cut, all in all, my point that I'm trying to make here is the Snyder Cut is such a significantly better film than what we got in 2017. And I don't think the world would have been ready for this R-rated masterpiece. And yeah. So yeah, those are my five changes that I found to be the most enjoyable. We have the addition of Darkseid and Martian Manhunter. We've got the film's tone. We've got the Flash's importance. We've got Cyborg's character development. And then we've got the end. The ending itself was just that good. And yeah, I'm not sure if this is the longest video I've done compared to my vinyl collection video. If you've stuck around this long, thank you. I mean, I would only assume you've seen the video or you've seen the movie by now. And if not, maybe I've convinced you to go give it a shot. Maybe you watched like the first 2 hours and you're like, nah, man, this ain't for me. But if you're fine with spoilers, then I'm glad y'all stuck around. And that was it. The Snyder Cut was just so good. And the video I'm putting out next week will share my frustrations with the fact that we will possibly never see the sequels to this movie that were going to be so dope. And I'm hurt. But I just wanted to say thank you for tuning in. It was a pleasure, as always. Be sure to like and subscribe. Share with your friends if they want to see a mess of a guy just kind of talk about nerdy stuff. by all means, spread the word, spread the love. But I'll catch you guys next week. We're keeping this train rolling on my birth month. Expect maybe another video or two. Like I said, I'm trying to coincide each upload to the channel with each week to give you guys some time to marinate on that. And with that being said, stay safe, stay healthy, and most importantly, above all else in this world, stay lazy. I'll catch you guys next time.